Hello everyone and welcome back to the CCL. This is going to be week 7 versus the San Antonio Spinda. Quick look at the playoff picture before we start off today's video. As you can see, I am located in the Mozzarella division, aka the division that's hard as hell to win in. This is going to be the last game of interleague play. After my game today against Garf, my last 3 games are against Pippo, Roger, and Joe. So those 3 games are going to have huge playoff implications. As you can see, our whole division is pretty much tied, right around 10, 12-ish differential. I have a game in hand. This is my game in hand. I need to win this game, otherwise I'm going to drop back down to where Joe is. As you can see, Garf has yet to win a game, so it is very much going to be a huge upset if 0-6 can come across and beat a 5-1 team. This is a crucial game, playoff implication-wise, as you can see. Latios, Weavile, Cobalion, Florges, Rotom each. Shaman, Squirrelipede, Darmanitan, Swampert, Skuntank, and Mega Slowbro. So, because he has Latios, Weavile, I actually have hard counters, more or less, to both of them. And if we take a quick look at the team that I prepared for today's game, Max HP, Max Defense, Keldeo, because he has not only a Darmanitan, and this is not a great switch into Darmanitan, but it's like a secondary check if all goes awry. And, it is primarily a switch into Weavile. It will be able to switch into Weavile most of the game and just do Keldeo things. I mean, offensively, I don't really need Keldeo to do anything this week, other than maybe outlast the Weavile. Next up, we have Talonflame chilling here. This is going to be Bulk Up Will-O-Wisp, Bravebird, Roost. Will-O-Wisp, just because if you look at his team, it'll help against Weavile, it'll help against Swampert, it'll help against Skuntank, it'll help against Cobalion a lot more than Taunt would, and just in general, Bulk Up allows me to beat things that SD wouldn't, such as Foul Play. Well, it'll allow me to take hits from Darmanitan and Skuntank at the very least. I'm not quite sure why I have Bulk Up, or Weavile maybe? I'm not quite sure. I just feel more comfortable with Bulk Up, I suppose. I didn't really get to use Bulk Up last week. We just have an offensive Latios for the first time in a long time. I just have 2 attack, defog, recover, Lati. Probably not the greatest set, but it'll at least get the job done. It can speed tie his Latios. Draco Meteor is going to do some damage. He has Florges. If he doesn't bring Florges, Lati is going to be doing some work if you look at the rest of his team. If he does bring Florges, I mean, I have a Clefable, so every time I bring in Lati, I can just double 2 Clefable, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, speaking of Clefable, here it is right here. Instead of Thunder Wave this week, I brought Thunderbolt. Other than that, it's basically the identical set that I've brought every week. Thunderbolt is just because he has Mega Slowbro, and if I get into a Calm Mind war with it, and he has Psyshock, I would like a way to 2-hit KO him, and Thunderbolt is the way to do that. Last 2 Mons are going to be Superior. Superior is just a nice win condition if you look at his team. He doesn't really have anything to switch in, and I can actually live an Ice Shard from full. And actually, the Ice Shard only does about 65 to 70 to me, from Weavile, that is. Other than that, I outspeed and kill everything else, so it's gonna be a very useful Pokemon. The only thing that actually really stops it would be like a Solvest Skuntank or Scarf Darmanitan. I guess Squirrelipede, theoretically after a Protect, would shut me down as well. Last but not least, we probably have the MVP of this week, or at least most likely the most likely MVP of the week, which is going to be Rocky Helmet Garchomp with Stealth Rock, Dragon Tail, Earthquake, and Endure. Pretty standard set. It's going to be my switch into Darmanitan, it's going to be my switch into Squirrelipede, it's going to be my switch into a lot of his team. Yeah, that's pretty much what the team's going to be. I hope you guys are looking forward to the match, and I will cut back to when we actually get into it. Okay, so this was originally actually live recorded, but after a 5-minute intro, the live recording turned out to be like 38 minutes, and I don't really want to post a 45-minute long video, so this is actually going to be a little bit of post. Looking at potential leads on his side, Rotom Heat is a potential lead. I mean, he could always also just lead Latios. Squirrelipede is also a thing. I'm going to lead Keldeo, predicting his Weavile though, because first turn I would rather not have to switch into Keldeo on his Weavile. Keldeo would also help against the lead Swampert, as I could immediately just start burning it. Maybe he wanted Rock Step right away, etc. Unfortunately, he ends up leading Latios, which is the worst situation for me, so I'm going to have to go out into my Clefable. I see that he has Psychic, which is obviously worse than Psyshock, because I am max HP, max defense, so I'm going to take a little bit from it. But he crits me, which changes everything, because really early on, I'm right on my heels, like unbelievably back on my heels. My only switch into this Pokemon is crit and at a point of health where I don't know how I'm going to get it back. So, I go with Talonflame. Luckily, he doesn't decide to drop a hot one, predicting that. He's going to go for another Psychic, which I can easily roost off with Talonflame. He ends up going out into Rotom. Unfortunately, Talonflame cannot even dream to touching Rotom. He can't even burn the damn thing, so luckily, I do have Latios for it, I'm going to switch out into Latios. He ends up going for a hidden power. It's super effective. I assume ice because I also have a Garchomp. And as you can see, it does absolutely diddly poop. The problem here is that I don't have Roost. As you saw in the pre-game, I actually changed it last minute, specifically because I wanted Healing Wish. Once again, it's a case of me changing stuff in the pre-game coming back to bite me, but whatevs, man. At this point, I'm going to predict his Florges to come in because I recognize it as a I can heal on this turn kind of thing. So I know that if I have Florges in on Clefable at the start of a turn, I can soft boil for free, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Look at Clefable. I make a really risky double, switching it in, and look at that. Clefable's healthy. Crisis averted. Brings in Scolipede, pretty obvious switch into a Clefable. Is going to go for a Poison Jab, and I have Rocky Helmet Garchomp for that. He did not end up bringing Darmanitan, which is great for me because what it means is Garchomp's really only use is going to be for countering Scolipede. I didn't know whether he wanted to stay in and like die or whether he wanted to switch out, whatever. I'm going to go for Earthquake because it's a pretty safe play. Like if he went to Latios, it would have kind of sucked on that turn, or if he went to Rotom Heat, I suppose. But bringing in Swampert and taking a crap ton of damage is quite nice for me. Don't really want this getting burned though. I still want it alive and healthy and quite well for the rest of the game. So I'm going to go into Keldeo. Unfortunately, he goes for Scald. Luckily, he doesn't get the burn, which is great for me, because if he got the burn, I'd be in a wee little bit of trouble, because Keldeo is something I absolutely need to stay healthy. Like, once Weavile is dead on his team, I can sack it, fodder it, do whatever I want, but until that happens, Keldeo is a must to keep alive. So I'm gonna go for Scald. Unfortunately, I don't get a burn either, but that is pretty just, considering we both just went for one Scald. Neither of us got a burn. That's fine by me. As sorry for bumping the mic there. He is gonna go for a Hidden Power Rock. This is like a perfect explanation and showing of not always does running a blatantly obvious hidden power help you. Like, cool, I understand that Florges can't touch Talonflame. Everyone knows I like running special defensive Talonflame. Almost every team at this point in Draft League is going to have Hidden Power Rock on something random. This week, it's Florges. But as you can see, it does nothing. Like, it's not even a threat. I can just Will-O-Wisp him, burn him. Now there's going to be residual on this Florges. I did a quick calc, and against my Talonflame spread, which is just specially defensive, this Florges is 0 special attack, no boosting item, so I didn't see lefties, so I'm like, is he Babiri Berry for some fucking weird reason? Like, I have no idea what he is, but I was assuming he would go for Aromatherapy there as I went for Roost, but he ended up just switching out into Rotom, which is fine by me, because as of right now, I'm going to go for Roost, see what he wants to go for. If he goes for Hidden Power Ice, it's going to do literally nothing. If he goes for Thunderbolt, I roosted on that turn. If he goes for Volt Switch, I can maintain my switch advantage, and just in general, if he tricks, I mean, I guess that would be kind of disappointing, but I mean, I still have a tricked Talonflame with Brave Bird. Yeah, that'll be pretty disappointing, but I see that he goes for Hidden Power Ice. I assume he's not going to go for it again, right? I have Talonflame in. I know that he's going for it. He's locked into Hidden Power Ice, although I didn't actually know that. I guess on this turn is where I figured it out. The fact that he stayed in and went for it again. I guess that kind of cemented it. Like, you'll see later that it's obvious if he's Scarf that he has to be, but Scarf Rotom Heat was kind of revealed on that turn. Gonna go for Draco because I assume he might want to stay in and go for the 2-hit KO, right? Unfortunately, he recognizes Rotom as important. He's not going to sack it to my Lottie quite yet. In fact, my Lottie is getting quite weak, which is unfortunate because I need, like I mentioned, I took off Roost, and if I still had Roost, I would have no problem switching Lottie in all day to that thing because I could just Roost it off every time. But silly fucking Richard took off Roost. Anyway. Clefable's chilling. He hits me with the Moonblast. I recognize I need to keep Clefable healthy, so instead of firing off a Thunderbolt on the switch, don't even have Thunder Wave, I have Thunderbolt because of his Mega Slowbro, which I was afraid of. I'm just going to Soft Boil up. Still have Garchomp chilling at full HP. Gonna go for Poison Jab. Do you see how that did 11%? Unfortunately, he gets the Bloody Poison. I want you to keep track how much damage this Garchomp acquires from that poison versus how much damage this Garchomp acquires from actual attacking moves my opponent goes for, because spoiler is pretty much all that lucky poison that he got. Anyway, I'm going to predict the Protect because I'm a good player and I'm going to set up Stealth Rock on him. Stealth Rock's going to be absolutely fucking crucial. It's not only going to hit the Scolipede, it's going to hit his Rotom Heat. Rotom Heat is so far coming like 9 times for free and I haven't even got damage off on it. So yeah, I want the rocks up. Here's the unfortunate part. I am still getting whittled down by poison. I Dragon Tail him out successfully, which means he's going to be really low after that. But I Dragon Tail him out into fucking Latios so he can just defog right away. So I go to Clefable. I want you to guess what happens. Yeah. At this point, I was ready to click the X. I was ready to just say, you know what? Yeah, I lost. I don't care. I don't care anymore. This game is terrible. This game's dumb. This game's awful. Curse me again. So, just like earlier in the match, once again I have a critical hitted Clefable, which I need, otherwise I lose. Because I have no other way to beat his Latios. I mean, I guess aside from Talonflame. But Talonflame would be a very long and risky battle. Gonna Roost again. As on this turn, he actually ends up going for a Draco Meteor. As you can see, it does basically absolutely zilcho. Not quite sure what item his Latios is either, considering it's not Lefty, it's not Life Orb. Like, so many weird things. I'm gonna Roost again, just in case he wants to crit me for a third time. I know there's gonna be a defog turn, and I could have went for Will-O-Wisp if I was incredibly ballsy, but there's no use playing ballsy when you have the win as long as you don't screw up. Although, it's not fair to say because my Latios doesn't have Recover, which is gonna make it really difficult to win. On this turn, I'm going to predict them to switch out, potentially into Rotom Heat, because, you know, I have a Talonflame in, so I've done that a lot. I'm going to go to Latios, predicting that. Unfortunately, he stays in and goes for a fucking Reflect. And on this turn, I'm like, well, okay, now he's most likely going to switch out, considering I have a Latian. Is this his Florges coming in? Because, you know, Latios is in against his Latios. Florges, maybe? Florges? He's at -2, he can't kill me, Florges? Unfortunately, he doesn't go to Florges, which means I am going to get one turn of lefties, but unfortunately nothing else. At this point, because my Garchomp is very weakened and poisoned already, I don't really want to switch it and take a Mega Horn, get the poison, and then die, because he got rocks away. I have to go to Keldeo, which, by the way, this is terrifying. Not only does Keldeo literally take 50% just in order to kill this Scoilopede, but the Keldeo could have gotten poison on either of those, and you will see in this game, if Keldeo hadn't gotten poisoned on either of those, that would have been the game. So, just unnecessarily risky because of the poison that he got, which was kind of forced into my hand, which is disappointing, but anyway, Rotom is in. There's a Reflect Up. He goes for Thunderbolt. Not quite sure why, considering I do still have Latios. I'm going to bring it in every damn time. Like, I guess it's not a terrible play, because, I mean, like, it's the 4th time I think we've done this, so maybe I would like to switch it up, but no, when I still have Latios just chilling, there's not really a reason to switch it up. I'm gonna go for Draco Meteor, because I'm absolutely stupid, and this is where the game turns, unfortunately. As you can see, his Florges is at 36%. Did a quick calc through Reflect, which doesn't actually affect Psyshock, by the way. Psyshock is a special move that hits on their defense, and Reflect halves your attack. It doesn't raise their defense. So, Reflect is up. This Psyshock can do anywhere from 32 to 41. Pretty good range. I figured I'd have a pretty good chance to kill it. You know, it's nice right in the middle, nice beefy. No, unfortunately, I get pretty much absolute minimum damage, which means my Latios dies. I mean, like I said, it was an unnecessarily risk. And to be completely honest, that was a risk I didn't need to take. I could have easily went into Talonflame on that turn, let it burn to death a little bit. But likewise, I was kind of assuming he would Wish or Aromatherapy. Again, I have no idea what he was doing. All he clicked all game was Moonblast and Hidden Power Rock. Be interested to know what his set was, but whatever. I'm gonna go to Clefable. I'm trying to catch something. Maybe the Swampert. Maybe I could Roost on the Swampert. Unfortunately, he goes right out into Rotom. Luckily, I know, okay, Garchomp can switch into that. Unfortunately, guess what? Garchomp is still poisoned, and I don't have Healing Wish. I put Healing Wish on my Latios specifically to heal Garchomp, and then I let it die anyway. So at this point, I'm basically 2 mons down, and I'm playing like an idiot. Gonna get my rocks up. Again, it's still gonna be super useful. I believe his Rotom is still at 100%. So at this point, I'm gonna go for Earthquake as he ends up getting up his rocks, I believe. Yeah, he's gonna get up his rocks for my Talonflame. Now on this turn, this is not so much a misplay, more than I guess an over prediction. As you can see, I'm about to die from Toxic. I'm at 15%. Now his Swampert is going to die to the Earthquake. Earthquake did 43.3 last time, so I could Earthquake, still be alive. You know what I mean? Like, if I Earthquake here, his Swampert dies, and then Garchomp's living at 2, and then he has to send something in, and then it will give me Switch Advantage. Because he's forced to send something in and then kill me off, then I get Switch Advantage. That's pretty self-explanatory. So what I assumed was, he has 2 Levitating Pokemon. Earthquake is about to kill. Why would he not go to Rotom or Lottie? Especially Lottie on this turn, because then he could just defog as I die, or Psyshock, or whatever, right? and my Clefable still low. I figured Lottie was a very, very reasonable play to expect from Garf. So, on this turn I'm going to go for Dragon Tail. Unfortunately, for some reason, he just stayed in and sacked his Swampert. So, whatever. I mean, I can't really be upset. I personally don't agree with the play whatsoever. I feel like saving your Swampert, I mean, it doesn't really do much for the rest of his team, but I feel like it wasn't that risky of a play, and I tried to catch him on it. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Clefable is able to soft boiled on that Swampert 100% of the time, unless he crit me again, and he didn't. He switched out into his Rotom, which was great for me. He goes to Rotom on this. I assumed he was going to Trick. He was either going to Trick or he was going to Overheat. And at the very least, even if he Thunderbolts, it'll give me a free switch out into Serperior, which will get me a kill, which I desperately need at this point. So go into Serperior, and he's basically picking a fodder at this point, and that fodder is going to be Swampert. I am faster than his Latios. Obviously, at this point, I'm at +2. I'm Miracle Seed, so, you know. Weavile does not kill me with Ice Shard unless he's Adamant, in which case he'd be slower, but Ice Shard, right? So, I live Weavile's Ice Shard is what I'm trying to say here. I force him back into his Rotom to take more Rocks damage. And as you can see, he is indeed Scarfed as he outspeeds me. At this point, however, I do have a play. This allows me to go to Clefable. I do still have a play to win. Now, I have to play perfectly to win, but I do still have a play to win. If I Calm Mind here, if he stays in, then he is just going to die because he's overheating a Clefable that's setting up in his face. If he goes to Latios, his Psychic will not be able to do enough to me to the point where Weavile will be able to come in and revenge, likewise with Rotom. And Moonblast will kill. And if he went to Weavile on that turn, I could just kill it with Moonblast. However, it would have been really sketchy if he went to Weavile on that turn, because he could have Icicle Crashed, potentially flinched, and then he would have Latios still alive. So if he went to Weavile first, it would have put me in a really bad position. Luckily, he went to Latios first and sacked it. So I guess you can call that a misplay on his part, I suppose. Because if he went to Weavile, I would have been put in a very sticky situation of going to Keldeo, and he still had a max HP Latios. Anyway, at this point, max HP, max defense Keldeo is going to come in, eat up one Poison Jab, not get poisoned, eat up a second Poison Jab, still not get poisoned. And what that is going to force him to do is not lock himself into Trick with Rotom. He has Last Mon. Rotom is going to be at about 25%, and he will not be able to trick me, or he will not be able to trick my Clefable. Basically, he's forced to kill me with Thunderbolt here, because obviously Overheat will not do damage, and if he tricks, I just win with Keldeo. So, Keldeo dies. It is Rotom with a Scarf versus a pretty healthy Clefable. Did a quick count, Thunderbolt does like 35 to 40. Burst Thunderbolt gets max damage Para. I was about ready to reach through the screen and strangle something to death. Luckily, I get the soft boiled off, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Hacks train on my Clefable finally, still waiting for it. The Hacks train is still rolling. The Hacks train is still rolling. I got fully paralyzed. Will I get fully paralyzed on this turn? The Hacks train finally stops, and I get the soft boiled off. And at this point, I'm going to be able to Calm Mind and win. In fact, I'm going to turn this onto fast, because at this point it is literally just Calm Mind in the Rotom's face. Hope to not get paralyzed on this one either. Luckily I don't, and I soft boiled up, and at this point the win, I wouldn't say it's secured, but you know, you can always crit Para. But yeah, it's gonna be the game. Jesus Christ. So that was far closer than it should have been. Garf put up a really good fight though, considering he is 0-6 and I was 5-1 going into this game. The fact that he made it as close as he did proves that his 0-6 and now 0-7 is not entirely his doing. I mean, he made a couple misplays. The team he brought isn't perfect, but he definitely played well enough to win. It's just late game, I turned on the thinking cap and I played perfectly, exactly how I had to be able to win. So hope you guys enjoy this one. This one's already still really long. It's like 23 minutes, even though it's post-calmed. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this one. No more long CCL games, I promise. Next week is actually going to be unbelievable. I already had the battle, and I'm going to narrate it right after this, in fact. You guys will love it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, check out the other weeks, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.